Dobar dan, poštovani gledaoci, dobrodošli u emisiju Kultura u Centru u produkciji HONA TV-a. Mi se danas nalazimo u prostorijama Austrijskog kulturnog foruma u Beogradu, a naš domaćin je direktor ove cenjene institucije, gospodin Dr Direktor Adrijan Fajks. Adrien, dobar dan.
Dobar dan, dobrodošli.
Hvala vam pre svega na pozivu i zahvaljujemo vam se na vremenu koje ste izdvojili kako bi našim gledaocima iz prve ruke predstavili rad ovako visoke kulturne institucije.
Naravno, meni je čast da ste došli. Nažalost, još mi je teško na srpskom.
Srpski jezik vam čini mi se dobro ide.
A i razumem dosta i učio sam još 9 mjeseci, ali pričati je
u razgovoru je svakako drugačije.
Što više.
Za početak, vi ste rođeni u Beču, studirali ste fiziku, ali ste ipak rešili da se oprobate i u oblasti kulture. Da li je to želja da svoje akademsko znanje pokažete i na drugim poljima ili prosto je to bio profesionalni izazov koji niste želeli da propustite?
So now in English, because it's a bit easier for me to go into details. So I did indeed start with a career in science, in physics, and then at some point, after actually a few years of work in research, I decided that I wanted to do something else. Something completely different, but not so different, because the international aspect is very strong in research, and I had a lot of colleagues from all over the world, including Serbia. So my professor actually is originally from Serbia. So I had a lot of good friends already from Serbia in physics, and I knew the quality of the work here. But in any case, I decided to go do something else, broaden the scope a bit, work with many more subjects and people, and I don't regret it, and I still keep my contacts, my colleagues, and I still love science very much. It's still a passion.
That is really interesting. So, do you know that people can't wait to see how will one so educated, so young, because you are young, and academic young man, how will you do more to connect Austria and Serbia in the area of culture? Do you have to admit that you have additional pressure about it?
I don't know. I don't feel so young anymore. It's you know, it's this time where you feel that everything is possible is long gone, and now I have to actually do something and achieve something. And I think it's a big challenge for any age group to come here to Serbia to move forward. And I'm trying to do my best. I'm trying to be open to really all areas of culture, not to put too much of my own ideas, my own preferences, because I think it's important to be open to the Serbian public and what interests them, and not come with my Austrian ideas.
Yes, but we need that too.
Well, yes, I can offer them. I want to present what we have. But I try to really listen to what is important for the partners here and for the public.
To make it together.
To make it together.
So were you familiar with Serbian culture, also with art, before you have arrived?
To be honest, apart from the scientific side, not so much. And I have to say it's unfortunately also not known enough in Austria. I think there is in spite of the intensive exchange and of the population also, which has Serbian origins in Austria, we don't know enough about Serbia, about the history, the current culture, and it's not directly my job to work on this, but I think indirectly by fostering the partnerships, by having Austrian artists come here, they also get interested, they also get surprised at how open, how many things are happening here, how lively it is, and bring it back.
What was the first thing that you saw? What is the first thing that fascinated you when you came here?
Well, the first thing that I saw was the fortress, actually. When I came with a taxi to the embassy to meet my colleagues and so on, and then I saw this fortress and this park, and it was amazing, because it's not often, even in the most beautiful European cities, you don't have this space that is really hundreds and hundreds of years old in the middle of the city and still alive. So it's still a place where people go every day to have a drink, to meet up with friends, and this is something unusual and great, and gives it a very special atmosphere.
We are really proud of it, and we are trying to do our best to keep that. In one of your previous interviews, you said one very interesting thing, and I wanted to read a quote. The most effective way to accompany Serbia on its way to the European Union is through the cultural exchange at eye level. No amount financial support can replace that. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, so I think the political side of our engagement here is very important, and our ambassador is extremely active, and Austria in general has always been a very strong supporter of EU integration for the whole Western Balkans region, and Serbia in particular.
Yes.
And so I think we work a lot on the political side, and it's extremely important to give these political signals. But I think the other side that is also necessary, I think both are really necessary, and you can't replace one with the other. The other side is the lower one, the one that goes really into the deeper society, people to people. And I think if you don't have the sufficient engagement in the cultural sector, if people don't know each other well enough, if they don't understand each other well enough, then the political work will not suffice. You need really to have this broader cultural understanding to make a project like the European Union
yes.
work. Absolutely.
We have noticed in your work that you have innovational kind of projects. Can you tell us more about your new projects here?
Yes, so we were already trying to be innovative before, but now we were forced to be innovative with the situation after the coronavirus
yes.
crisis, and then we had to find new formats very fast, and we moved to social media, we moved to YouTube, we had new video formats, and we are preparing new video formats as well in the future to showcase, for example, Austrian literature, young Austrian poets, female poets. And we also want to have a series about Austrian history in Belgrade, our heritage from Austrian times, 18th century mostly, in Belgrade, to interact with people in this way while we cannot yet make physical events as we used to. But also when working with events where people come from Austria, we try to be innovative, we try to work on formats involving new topics like ecology, and relate ecology and art, or relate science and art, make some sort of new blends. And for example, last year we were involved in the art and neuroscience exhibitions at the end of the year with the Centru for the Promotion of Science. And this was extremely interesting to see the relationships there between science and art. For the future, it will be important to discuss these topics. So
what are reactions from the public? What feedback you give?
The feedback we got, we invited Marlies Wirth, who is curator at the Museum for Applied Arts in Vienna, and they had curated an exhibition on artificial intelligence and how it can create art, for instance. I mean, you have a computer and have it produce some sort of art, and then the weird feeling, what does it mean? What am I looking at? How do I feel about this? Am I scared? Am I suspicious? And it was interesting to see the reactions. Also, she showed some examples to this art that once you know how it was produced, you feel different about it. And I think this led to questioning, and you saw this in the
yes.
public's reaction.
Actually, yes, because of Corona, we all really had to be much more creative. Also, we had European Film Festival, who was
yes.
online, and there was a very interesting film, Homo Sapiens.
Yes.
And very good grades from audience. So in visual arts, you think it is future a little bit. We now saw that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What are you preparing more in the area of visual arts?
So in film, in general, Austria has a very strong tradition in film. We have now some digital programs in film with for example, Haneke, who is a Oscar and Cannes prized, very famous one. And in documentaries also we have this strong tradition, and Nicholas Geiharter is one of the best, and this movie was really amazing It dealt with the spaces that are left by humans. So if aliens come in 200 years and civilization is gone, what would the world look like without us, but with our traces?
It was very interesting, really.
It was also a bit uncanny and strange, but very interesting. And so documentaries were very involved. For example, Beldocs will be present again this year.
Oh, great.
And visual arts, as a broader topic, we are as well engaged with many different partners. There, it's very important to have the good partners, because in this case, for example, I don't know much about it. I can't select. I don't have the expertise. But we're working with the Serbian galleries, smaller galleries, independent ones, and also museums of contemporary art in Belgrade and in Novi Sad. They really help us, and they're important as to showcase the Austrian art scene there.
Like you said, you had the opportunity to work with people outside of Belgrade. So
yes.
Are people from all cities or parts of Serbia opened to cooperate in the cultural exchange or developing?
Yes, so far I have traveled, probably not enough, but I've traveled probably to 10 cities, 10, 12 cities. And I will continue this week. I will go to Pančevo. Okay. I haven't been yet, although it's so close. And every time I go visit other places, I see a lot of enthusiasm, ideas, new projects, and we try to also include as many places outside of Belgrade with specific formats like traveling exhibitions, or also short film festivals that can easily travel throughout the whole country, because Serbia is not Belgrade, Belgrade is not Serbia. Both are great, and both are very open and
okay,
creative.
What are your plans for this year in Austrian Academic Forum?
Mm-hmm.
And did you have to change some plans during these situations?
Yeah, so the Cultural Forum has tried to postpone as many things as possible to still make them happen this year that were planned in March or April or May. So we'll have an extremely dense autumn. If the situation improves or stays the same, yes, we'll have a program with literally, I think, every other day or every day some event in the period between September and November. And it will be exhausting, but I hope it works out, because of course we're doing contingency planning, possibly again digital formats. We try to prepare as much as possible, also to postpone to next year, but it would be good to restart with culture again. Now that life is going on, culture also is an integral part of life and should restart, yes, at some point.
Fantastic. We'll get back to that point. I wanted to ask, in the Austrian Cultural Center, it's possible to learn German language and also to take the exams in it.
So the Austrian system is a little bit different from other countries. We have separate institutions for the work in culture and science and for the language teaching. And my colleagues from the Austrian Institute are focused on language teaching. And of course we have a lot of exchange with them, and we have joint events. For example, we organize film screenings in German language in cooperation with them, and also with the Austrian Library at the university. Yes. So we're also involved with people who want to learn German and the Austrian variant of German, because it's the same language, but it has small variations, yes, as you might know. But we don't directly offer courses or exams. They do, and they're very qualified and have excellent teachers.
Of course, but also taking direct exams can be really helpful for future students.
Yes, yes.
Not only travelers.
No, it's a challenging language, but I think for Serbians it should not be that difficult, because the grammar is a subset of the Serbian grammar. And
if you say so, then we will believe. Okay. Nowadays, we can say it is a global movement about raising consciousness about the ecology, and we have seen many projects, especially young people who are interested in that. So, what is your opinion about it? And did you ever supported any ecology projects by now?
Mm-hmm. So yes, we also see the importance of this topic growing in the whole world, and in Serbia in particular. And I think this winter the attention was on this topic because of pollution, but the whole climate change topic will remain with us for decades. So we are working more on this, as I told you already. We supported, for example, at the beginning of this year, an exhibition at the Cultural Center of works of Oliver Ressler, who deals with activists, how they work to somehow shake up the system and make things seen that are not seen, that the bad consequences of coal or climate change in general, what it means for future generations, and how they do it. And the interest was great of the Serbian public, and we'll have other events like this, also relating art and how art can deal with these topics and make them understandable for people and make them relate to these social questions and ecological questions.
This is really important also for young generations, but how much, if you know that you have many talented young people, if you know that they have innovative ideas, and how is important and in which way you can support them?
As the Austrian Cultural Forum, we try to support younger people in general, younger artists, younger scientists from both countries, actually, by making it possible for them to exchange. And our main focus is, of course, to bring Austrian people here, but it's more important often than making them seen to the Serbian public or having a lot of visibility, is for them to build personal connections with young people from Serbia. And I think this is one key part in helping them develop. They have usually a lot of ideas, they have usually a lot of talent, energy, and they know what to do, but then you just need this extra institutional support to enable it. It's not so much about teaching them or about telling them what to do, but just
maybe it's better to ask them. What would you do?
It's often better to ask them and just to tell them, look, maybe you should talk to this person, and there's this other institution, and that's really the last step. And this is what we try to make between Austria and Serbia. But I hope it helps also the Serbian young artists and young creatives.
Yes. So, what can you say? What particular achievement of the Austrian Cultural Forum is that you can say you're proud of really much?
Well, I am looking back now at 20 years, and my predecessors achieved a lot, and I'm trying to do similar things now. In my short period, I'm quite proud of two events. One of them was this year with a guest performance by the Theatre of Klagenfurt that came to the National Theatre in Belgrade, of a piece by Peter Handke, Without Words. It was, I think it was a great event, great performance, also great symbol. This unifying thing that theatre doesn't need a language and everyone can understand it, and all the topics can be discussed in this way. I think this was really great. And last year we had also a very, for me personally, I was there with my wife also, personally moving performance of the St. Pölten ballet coming to Novi Sad for a play or theatre on Mozart's life in dance, and it was also a great success. So these are the two things, but there are so many more, and this is just a personal thing that comes to my head now.
And do you agree that the new wave of art and artistic exhibitions, it has to follow the time? So like it was in the time, so during the world always, when it was with Mozart, Klimt, Rilke and many others, there are so great names and great talents, but they really left us a tough task to be in culture on that level, but in these times. So do you think that it has to be, the cultural exchange actually has to develop that?
Yes, and as you said, each time has its art, and this was an important slogan of the early 1900s, of the secession, that this time needs its own art, and that's why art needs reform and needs new ideas, new visual concepts, and so on. And that's what now we look back at as a tradition, and as somehow the great things now were really revolutionary back then, and we should not forget this, and just perpetuate the tradition, but always try to find something new, something innovative. And as you mentioned, international exchange, all these greats of art that we can look back on, they were all active somehow internationally. They were all connected. They were all looking at other big cities or at other currents and getting inspired by them. So I think most, if not all, of great art is somehow international as well. And that's why it's important to keep these international connections.
In these times, of course. Next year, there is a 20th jubilee of Austrian Culture Forum in Belgrade. So, are you preparing the program already for that event?
Yes, we are actually. We'll have a lot of events, because next year, unfortunately, we're not sure how it will work out, but next year we also have the Capital of Culture in Novi Sad, and we're planning a major focus there with exhibitions, larger exhibitions, and also theater and ballet performances, and many smaller things in independent places. And we're also preparing somehow a publication on the 20 years of Cultural Forum, but also we don't want to just, again, look back, but also look into the future, and also propose some new ideas, and give space to people to think about the future of the cultural relations between Austria and Serbia, because it's a good time to think about the past and to learn from it, and to read and look in the future. But Novi Sad would be really the focus geographically. We hope that the whole situation with the pandemic will allow it to go forward, but we're definitely very involved in this.
So I'm sure that the public can't wait to see that performances. Tell us, why so many Austrian people want to visit Serbia, and did you had enough time to explore all the beauties of our country?
So indeed, more and more Austrian people are coming to Serbia. The tourism potential of the country is enormous. It's not yet fully explored, but more and more, at least in the big cities, we realize that there is a lot to see. So I think that the main focus of Austrian tourists at the moment is in Belgrade and in Novi Sad and across the Danube, because it's really a connecting element also with Austria. There is a lot of joint history. The whole Roman heritage, for example, is something that's very interesting to Austrians. But I think there is much more to it, to Serbia, to see. And this potential slowly, I think, is also being developed. And the mountains south of Serbia, all the culinary tourism, the amazing foods and wines that you have, the cultural diversity of Vojvodina in the smaller towns, the Hungarian influence maybe in some parts there. There is so much that I have heard of and I've partly seen, but I haven't yet seen everything. And I think there is also much more for the Austrian public to discover, and a lot of potential to develop it.
We hope we will do that very soon.
I'm sure.
And tell us, for the end, what more can we do one for each other?
This is a very, very good and very difficult question. I think from our side, it's easier to answer what we should do as a cultural forum, as embassy, as Austria. We should listen, I think, and learn. And then first listen, learn, and then develop our ideas of cooperation and develop projects. And this is how they will be successful. This is how they will last. This is how they will leave a trace. This is the thing I'm trying to do in my day-to-day work. And from the Serbian side, I would say also listen and have some sort of open dialogue without preconceived ideas. I think from both sides, this is the start. And then you see that there are so many possibilities, so many options, so many common things, and ways to move forward once this dialogue is established.
Upravo tako. Hvala vam puno na gostoprimstvu. Bilo nam je velika čast i nadam se da smo našim gledaocima zaista približili rad vašeg kulturnog centra, a takođe i zainteresovali ih da se aktivnije uključe u vaše događaje.
Hvala vam puno. Nadam se da sljedeći put bismo mogli da razgovaramo na srpskom.
Biće nam jako drago.
Hvala.
Poštovani gledaoci, to bi bilo to u današnjoj emisiji. Imali smo zaista veliku čast da sa direktorom Austrijskog kulturnog foruma u Beogradu popričamo o njihovom radu i pozivamo vas da se uključite u njihov rad. Prijetno!
Kultura, HONA, vom Österreich.